There's been another police shooting in Victoria. This time a 24-year-old female constable with 2 years' experience opened fire on a man involved in a violent domestic dispute. Police were called to a domestic dispute at 1:45 this morning. 28-year-old Craig Coleman was arguing with his de facto wife over an alleged property settlement.
I heard screaming about 1:45 and the dogs were barking, so I got up to see what's happening.
Police say the man threatened 3 officers with a knife. Their attempts to subdue him with capsicum spray failed and he was shot dead by a 24-year-old female constable. Police claim the man had been extremely aggressive and violent and that the female officer had only acted in self-defence. Police had been called to the house earlier that night when the dispute first erupted. Neighbours say the man had tried to run over his de facto wife and a male friend in his four-wheel drive before speeding away.
Look as he was going to run them down, but of course he braked just shortly before making contact, and the woman was virtually shouting and cringing.
Police today defended the failure of the capsicum spray. It's believed the man had shielded his face with a shirt wrapped around his arm.
Capsicum spray is effective in 90% of occasions. Some limitations occurred.
Kim Carter, 10 News. Hopes tonight of a major breakthrough in the long-running civil war on Bougainville. Peace talks brokered by the New Zealand government have ended with agreement to end the 9-year secessionist war. The declaration signed by the Papua New Guinea government and rebel groups calls for a neutral peacekeeping force to be sent to the island, but there's still no set date for an end to hostilities.
There is no powerful justification for a continuing war.
Now the Gianni Versace murder hunt, and as the designer's body arrives home tonight in Italy, an already nervous Miami has been rocked by another murder. Police are worried chief suspect and high-class male prostitute Andrew Cunanan could kill again.
Police and FBI officers wasted no time getting to the scene of this latest murder. The body of 44-year-old Silvio Alfonso, a doctor described as homosexual, was in the bedroom. He'd been shot and the house ransacked.
The subject that was observed running fit the description somewhat of Andrew Cunanan.
But police were cautious, eventually ruling out any connection between this killing and the murder of Versace. However, experts say such a murder would be typical for this kind of killer.
At this stage of the game, Cunanan is potentially dangerous that he's a threat to almost anyone that comes in his path. It is very likely he may, in his own devious state of thinking at this stage of the game, be plotting to up the ante, to do one even bigger.
This threat has prompted police to warn other gay celebrities to be cautious, including Versace's close friend, Elton John.
I will have to take more protection. It's a necessity now.
Authorities have a blurry videotape from a security camera at a hotel near Versace's home. It shows someone in shorts and a T-shirt running down an alley shortly after the murder happened. Witnesses say the killer wore similar clothing. Outside Versace's home, people continue to pay their respects.
It makes me feel uneasy that someone like this that committed such a murder is out.
Angela Bishop, 10 News.
Emotions ran deep on an Atlantic Ocean beach today. Family and friends of the 230 people who died when TWA Flight 800 exploded gathered 1 year after the disaster to remember.
It was an emotional day for grieving friends and families of the 230 crash victims. They marked the first anniversary by gathering on a Long Island beach to pay tribute to their loved ones.
I want to see what happened, how my brother actually passed away, and then hopefully I'll have closure to my brother passing on.
Earlier, a more formal memorial service was held in New York City's St. Patrick's Cathedral. On this day last year, TWA Flight 800 to Paris exploded in mid-air 11 minutes after takeoff, killing all on board. After an exhaustive inquiry, investigators say they know fumes in the central fuel tank ignited, but they still don't know why.
Of course I'm disappointed that we don't conclusively know, but I'm not sure what else we can do.
The FBI believes a mechanical malfunction is the most likely cause. A small, well-placed bomb or a missile are now considered remote and unlikely explanations. Not knowing the cause is an ongoing anguish for many of the surviving families.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
In the United States, Tim Schulberger, 10 News.
Power has been restored to the ill-fated Russian space station after more than 24 hours of darkness. The Mir lurched out of alignment yesterday when one of the cosmonauts accidentally pulled out a vital computer cord. The station is again receiving power from solar panels facing the sun, but repairs to a module damaged in an earlier collision are now delayed. A risky spacewalk is planned for a relief crew due on the Mir next month. Inflation has finally caught up with one of America's greatest institutions, the five and dime store. The first Woolworths store opened more than a century ago, with nothing costing more than 10 cents. Competition from the big discount stores has now killed off the bargain basement chain. 400 stores will be closed across America, signifying the end of an era and confirming the dominance of giant shopping malls in the battle for the consumer dollar. When the late news continues, a shake-up on the cards for pay TV as well as the finance news. A dog's life no more as a new canine medicine is unveiled.
It makes life very, very easy for dog owners.
And in sports tonight, Sam Riley gives the world record a nudge. The long-awaited pay TV shakeout could soon be a reality. Speculation is rife. Foxtel and Australis will announce a merger within days.
Australia's three pay TV companies, Galaxy, Optus Vision and Foxtel, have been battling each other to attract subscribers. But it seems not enough Australians want their pay TV to ensure all carriers survive. The nation's first pay TV company, Australis, the owner of Galaxy, and Foxtel have been negotiating a merger for weeks. They're expected to confirm the deal in days. Analysts believe that will result in major savings for consumers.
The existing providers aren't providing an attractive service or sufficiently attractive. If this merger means that there's better quality programming, it could mean cheaper prices.
Subscribers can pay more than $60 a month to get all channels from their carriers.
It's spending tens of millions of dollars on the very latest digital broadcast and production equipment.
Along with cable rollouts and other infrastructure, the industry has clocked up losses in the billions. Shares in Australis were reinstated for trading on the share market today after being suspended yesterday. The firm's stock price had soared amid speculation of a merger. Australis has told the stock exchange it's continuing discussions with Foxtel, but has no other information about the potential merger. Adrian Rochella, 10 News.
To finance news now, and the Australian share market finished on an upbeat note. The All Ordinaries more than 14 points higher. Coca-Cola Amateur led the way with a $1.53 jump. Among the gold stocks, Normandy added 4, Centaur climbed 14. Resolute climbed 7 cents today. The banks were mixed. The ANZ up 20, the NAB added 12. On the cross rates, the Australian dollar is trading at 73.97 cents US, 44.19 pence and 85.64 yen. Gold is worth $323.60 US an ounce. The FT100 share index is down over 6 points in morning trade. The Hang Seng closed 136 points lower. The Nikkei finished 270 points down. Plans for tighter controls on X-rated videos have been halted in their tracks. The Queensland and Tasmanian governments are refusing to support new national standards, insisting the videos be banned altogether.
State and federal attorneys general meeting in Brisbane discussed a plan to replace the existing X rating with a new category called non-violent erotica, or NVE. It would lift the minimum age of actors allowed from 16 to 18 and ban material displaying fetishes, sadomasochism and bondage. But the Queensland and Tasmanian Attorneys General refused to support the plan.
Commonwealth should abide by their election commitment, which was to ban all X-rated material.
Mr Beanland fears a new NVE category would be the first step in making video pornography more widely available. Not so, says Federal Attorney-General Darryl Williams.
Each state and territory would be able to ban the sale or hire of the new category if that state or territory so chose.
It would then have to be purchased the same way most X-rated material is now, by mail order from the ACT and Northern Territory. The X-rated video export industry is worth $34 million a year to the ACT economy. Its biggest customer is Queensland, which accounts for 1/3 of all sales. The sex video industry says Mr Beanland's position is foolish.
What he's done is effectively allowed the X category to continue as it is by denying this new NVE category, because the ACT and the Northern Territory are not going to let go of X videos, no matter what.
The issue's been put on hold until the Attorneys General meet again late this year. Damien Curry, 10 News.
A dog's life is set to become a little easier for both pet and owner. A new treatment to protect our pooches from parasites and fleas comes in just one monthly tablet.
They might be man's best friend, but 1 in 3 dogs is unprotected against deadly canine parasites.
The main parasite we're worried about is heartworm. Heartworm is the one that's most likely to kill the dog, and they are transmitted by mosquitoes.
In the past, protecting your pooch meant giving a variety of products. Now there's a one-stop solution.
The new product is called Sentinel, and it makes life very, very easy for dog owners.
Today, the tablet was put to the test on Taronga Zoo's dingoes, Sugar and Spice.
Well, it's only given once a month, so it's quite straightforward, and you just put it in with some food. It needs to be given with food, and yeah, most dogs should take it pretty easily.
But it's not just a preventative treatment. The manufacturers say it can also get rid of those pesky fleas by breaking the breeding cycle. They say your dog will be flea-free within 48 hours.
It actually stops the flea from, in development, producing chitin, which they need to grow into an adult flea. So it stops the flea's eggs from developing any further.
As far as Dougal the dog's concerned, this one gets the thumbs up. Lyndall Davies, 10 News.
Stay with us, the all-important weekend weather details are next. Then it's the 1-hour edition of Sports Tonight with Tim Webster. And Tim, a scare for Tiger Woods tonight in the British Open.
Sandra, yes, the US Masters champ coming very close to missing the cut at Royal Troon. Details shortly. Also, Adelaide and Brisbane battle it out in the AFL, and an ugly brawl in the Manly-Sydney City clash.
Now look at the national weather details. It was sunny today in Cairns, Townsville, Brisbane and Sydney. Smoky in Canberra, hazy in Melbourne, fine in Hobart and Adelaide. Smoky in Perth today and Darwin, and it was fine in the Alice. Some low-level cover around the southern and east coasts. The rest of the nation remains almost cloud-free. On the synoptic chart, a strong and very slow-moving high-pressure system is over South Australia. It's directing southerly winds over New South Wales before tending easterly across the centre and northeasterly in the west. So tomorrow we can expect a fine day in Cairns and Townsville, 26 and 25 degrees respectively. Showers in Brisbane and 19. It should be fine in Sydney and Canberra. Sydney's top tomorrow 15. Canberra can expect a warm 12 degrees. In Melbourne, drizzle is expected to clear with a top of 13. Fine weather forecast for Hobart and 13 as well. Adelaide should be fine and 14. Perth fine and 21. A dry day in Darwin and 30 degrees. And a fine day in store for the Alice and 15. That's the news for this Friday, the 18th of July. Our next national bulletin will be tomorrow night, first at 5. But right now, sit back for the Friday night 1-hour edition of Sports Tonight with Tim Webster. I'm Sandra Sully from the Late News team. Have a good weekend. Good night.
Tonight's Late News, brought to you by Hyundai XL and MLC, where money matters.
10 News takes the time to give you more in-depth stories that happen in your suburb, in your country, and around the world. We put news first. We put you first. 10 News.
In Sports Tonight, Saturday, July 19, Tiger in the woods. The Masters champ perilously close to missing the cut in the Open. A major move in the Rugby League war. A funding guarantee putting the ARL in the box seat. Going for it in the pool. Sam Riley a touch off a world record. And racing's daily double. From a riding engagement to a race down the aisle. It is all here for 1 hour on Sports Tonight.
Hello everyone and welcome. Also tonight, Brisbane too good for Adelaide in the AFL. A big Friday night fight night for Shannon Taylor. All the tips you'll need for the weekend's racing. We've got basketball and cricket and of course our plays of the week. But first, Rugby League, and Manly has retained its spot on the top of the table after a spiteful and controversial match with Sydney City. The Sea Eagles won 21-12. Manly's Mark Carroll and the Roosters' Terry Hermanson sent off the field after a scrum broke up into a brawl in the first half.
It was a battle between league's heavyweights that got a little out of hand.
And they're throwing punches in there now.
Tough prop Mark Carroll, the first to go for headbutting. His opposite number also sent off.
Now, Hermanson's gone too.
Manly decided to turn on the flare. Good support play giving them the first try.
Are they going to make it? Menzies away for Hopewati.
The Sea Eagles were firing another classic move, putting Menzies in the corner.
They've got to score. They've got to make it. Menzies.
8-0, the Roosters needed something special. Adrian Lamb, the man for the job.
Lamb across the back, puts the dummy on. He's over the little bloke.
After the break, the Roosters capitalised on a Manly mistake to take the lead.
There's the pass.
Cliffy Lyons wasn't happy with that. Some clever play getting the Sea Eagles back in it.
Lyons, oh, Cliffy's over. You good thing.
Craig Field looking for more points, but Matt Singh spoiled that. Manly threw away some chances, but with just 10 minutes to go, they decided to get back on track.
Lyons for Gardner. Gardner for Hill. Hill's over.
Field's conversion taking it to 20 points to 12. And just to make sure of it, he sent over a field goal as well, 21-12.
To Super League, and a 3-week break from the World Club Challenge hasn't been enough for Warrington to turn the tables on the Australian teams. Penrith with a lopsided 48-12 win over the Wolves. Panthers goal kicker Ryan Girdler racked up 20 points. Matt Adamson with a hat-trick of tries.
With the Aussie flags flying, the Panthers welcomed the return of the World Club Challenge. Another chance for a scoring spree over the hopelessly outclassed English sides.
To the left-hand side, Girdler got it back for Bobby Thompson. And there is the opening touchdown for the Penrith Panthers.
A full moon above the Penrith Stadium, but the Wolves weren't howling at the sky, but at their own defence.
Gets the hands free, back to Gower, who took it nicely, saw the gap himself, he's still not tackled, got it back to Jason Williams, and he'll get the ball down for the Panthers' third.
The Panthers ran in 4 first-half tries, but even with the weight of possession against them, Warrington still crossed twice before the break.
They continue to go right, there are numbers out there for the Wolves and Roper.
24-8 at half-time. The Panthers continued to run away with it.
Gerber is away. Just Duncan the beat at fullback. He got around him. He's going to go all the way and score under the post.
Warrington's desperation turned into reckless defence. Salesi for now on report for a high shot on Sid Domick. Penrith went on with their avalanche of tries. 4 more in the second half. Matt Adamson with a hat-trick.
Straight through the tackle. Got past Duncan for the second time this evening.
Penrith celebrating 48 points to 12.
Sports Tonight and Emu Export in a league of their own.
Well, the 2 smallest men on the ground set up Brisbane's 31-point win over Adelaide at the Gabba tonight, with Adelaide only trailing by a point midway through the third quarter. Steve Lawrence and Sean Hart pulled off 2 gutsy tackles which led to Brisbane goals. The Lions didn't look back from there.
After a frenetic opening by both sides, the Lions scored the first major after a brilliant reflex handball by Voss.
It's a goal, kicked by McRae.
Moments later, the Crows replied, Modra with one of his trademarks off the ground.
Oh, what a goal!
The Lions had far more of the play, but should have been more than 9 points in front at quarter time.
From Keating, Leppich goal.
Lions coach John Northey demanded his players go more direct at goal. Ashcroft showed why.
Bounces through for a goal. And
Voss further extended the margin, but 2 quick goals, one to Modra and the other to Robran, slowed Brisbane's momentum.
And gets the goal.
Modra almost took the mark of the night, but the Lions were flying higher with a 3-goal half-time lead. The Crows lifted after the break, 2 to Vardy and 1 to Wren dragged Adelaide to within a point.
Kick by Sean Wren.
Smart's injured hamstring flared as the Lions scored the last 4 goals to lead by 26 points at the final change.
And he kicks another one.
Adelaide narrowed the margin after kicking the first 2 of the term.
Go through for an Adelaide goal.
But Brisbane kept to the script and hit back again. Modra finished with 6 goals in a good solo effort, but Brisbane took the honours by 31 points in a commanding performance.
To the British Open now, and Northern Ireland's Darren Clark is leading the way after a fine round of 66 to be 9 under after completing his second round. Greg Norman's been putting for plenty of birdies, but he's only sunk one of them to be 3 under. Tiger Woods had a shocker on 10 with a quadruple bogey. He's 4 over and will probably just survive the halfway cut.
The wind died down and a kinder troon greeted players for today's second round. Irishman Darren Clark taking advantage, firing a 5 under par 66 for an impressive halfway total of 9 under. This putt for birdie on 14. The pre-tournament favourite, though, found no solace by the seaside. A quadruple bogey on 10 putting a big dent in the Boy Wonders' shield. In typical fashion, though, Tiger clawed his way back to be 4 over after 36. But while Woods lamented, the Swedish contingent celebrated a pair of Scandinavian aces. Daniel Olsson at the 5th, and his compatriot Dennis Eglund marking a 1 on his card at the famous postage stamp hole the 8th. Paul Azinger unlucky not to join their celebrations, hitting the stick and bouncing out on the same hole. Greg Norman too going close with this putt. He's yet to finish his second round, but he's still in the thick of the action at 3 under. In earlier first round action, the Aussies were in fine touch around the greens. Peter O'Malley with a solid 73. Roger Davis matching that score with some sharp shooting from the fairways.
That is doing very well indeed. No,
3-time champ Nick Faldo, though, was sharpest of them all.
And this is a magnificent shot. Does everything but go into the hole.
Craig Parry, in contrast, had little to smile about. An air swing was followed by this unfortunate visit to the Scottish sand, and he's now struggling to make the cut. Memories of better days too for former champ Ian Baker Finch, the 1991 winner withdrawing after a disastrous first round of 92. IBF's headache only matched by this spectator, who was hit on the head by an errant ball from American Phil Mickelson.
Top Australian boxer Shannon Taylor is a step closer to fighting superstar Oscar De La Hoya in Japan next year. The Wollongong-based fighter tonight narrowly defeating Russian Viktor Baranov on the New South Wales south coast.
A sparkling star, Shannon True Blue Taylor looked the part street, part pro. The unbeaten welterweight champ expected to be on his way home after a few rounds. And early on, his height and reach advantage gave him the edge. The less fancied Russian saved by the bell.
Excellent finish, a big overhand right from Shannon Taylor.
Baranov unfazed. A wry smile, an ominous sign. He came out swinging more often than not below the belt, but managed to stay upright until the third.
Left hand from Shannon Taylor and Baranov goes down.
He held on and held his own. The next 3 rounds all level as the Russian frustrated the local hero. Even after a clash of heads and some push and shove, the Russian refused to back off.
I still say, oh no, here's Baranov stepping forward.
Against all odds, it went the distance. After 10 rounds, Taylor getting the nod, a narrow, unanimous points victory.
No, he's a good fighter, and no, I believe I could have knocked him out. You know, I probably tried to knock him out too much, and you know, it's a win.
We're just settling in for the 1-hour edition of Sports Tonight. Coming up, cricket, Samantha.
Have you got something to say about Sports Tonight, or do you want to comment on a current issue in sport? Call our feedback line on 1902 555 305. That's 1902 555 305. Or you can email us sportstonight@network10.com.au. The best feedback comments will be featured on Friday's edition of Sports Tonight.
Late today, the Australian Rugby League had its financial backing from Optus confirmed until 2000. The agreement confirming the ARL is willing and able to stand alone if compromise with Super League can't be achieved in the near future.
Another show of the ARL solidarity, the league's chiefs and club bosses out to support their game, but perhaps further hindering the chances of unification next season.
If we can't get to a position where we can see a single competition that's right for the game, then next year we'll see an Optus Cup competition.
Today, Optus extending its financial backing of the ARL up to the turn of the century. Aligned clubs again confirming they'll stay and play in that competition if there is no compromise.
The resolve is stronger than it's ever been, that we stick together. I mean, why would you have come this far and not stick together?
The ARL now in a stronger position to negotiate with Super League over the financial control of a united game, but the move has angered the opponent. In a statement, News Limited's Executive Director of Sport Ian Frickberg said Rugby League will now be used as a pawn by Optus. The matter should be between Super League and the ARL, he said. We don't have a pay television operator trying to use us as a bargaining chip. Meanwhile, talks between the two will continue next week. One competition, however, seems once again a long way off.
Australia has set Glamorgan 333 runs to win a minimum of 58 overs on the final day of the three-day cricket match in Wales. 7 declared for 217. Paul Rifle having a terrific match with a fine half-century. Earlier on day 2, Rifle swept to the top of the Aussies' bowling averages, taking 5 for 61. Michael Bevan made a desperate bid to keep his test spot, claiming the first 2 wickets, taking 3 for 73. But his batting didn't improve, out for just 1. Justin Langer and Michael Slater also failed, neither getting into double figures. Samantha Riley back into form at the Australian Short Course Swimming Championships in Melbourne tonight, narrowly missing her own 200-metre breaststroke world record.
Stepping up for the 200 metres breaststroke, Samantha Riley had hoped for a fast time. Just how fast, she wasn't sure. But when, at the halfway mark, she swam a time that would have won last year's World Championships over 100 metres, it was clear that Riley was on track for something special. She touched in 2 minutes 20.97, just 12/100ths of a second outside her own world record. Stunned at the time, Riley says had she known she was on world record pace, she'd have swum faster.
I had absolutely no idea. I heard some people cheering in the stands, but I thought they were cheering for someone else in the race.
But she was far from disappointed, just pleased to be back in form in time for next month's Pan-Pacific Championships.
No, I'm not actually as disappointed as I was when I missed it in 95. I guess because it is my own world record, it's not quite so bad, so it's still my name.
And in the men's 400 metres freestyle, 17-year-old sensation Grant Hackett set the pace. Nursing a shoulder injury, Daniel Kowalski watched from the stands, relieved that the towering Queenslander missed his Australian record by just over a second. Hackett won easily in 3 minutes 43.07, a time that would have won last year's World Short Course Championships and the second fastest in the world this year.
I didn't think I'd actually go that quick. I just went out there and set the pace and see what I'd come out with, and the 3:43.0 is fantastic.
Looking forward to the 1,500 metres on Sunday, the teenager says he thrives under the pressure of being compared to Kieran Perkins.
If I can't really take the pressure, I'm going to be no good, I suppose.
NBL action, and if you don't want to know the result of the Melbourne-Canberra game, better look away for a couple of minutes. Are you gone? OK, here we go. And it was a thriller at Melbourne Park. They scraped home by just a point. Brisbane also getting up in a close one against Perth, with South East Melbourne and Newcastle both comfortable winners. But the game of the night was at Melbourne Park.
Both sides came into the match desperately needing a win to keep their final 6 hopes alive. And by quarter time, there wasn't a point in it at 27 apiece. The Tigers dominating the boards, the Cannons making the best of their opportunities. Rose milking the extra point with this drive. And Andrew Gay's doing some milking of his own.
I tell you what, forget about that. The gold Logie is signed, sealed and delivered.
The Hollywood number igniting his teammates, the Tigers scooting out to a 10-point half-time lead.
10-point lead that we've got now can evaporate very, very quickly, so we've still got a hell of a task ahead of us.
The caution proving justified as Canberra picked up its work rate after the break. Donaldson whittling away Melbourne's lead.
Donaldson spots up for three, makes it.
A rare 5-second violation against Bradkey then gave the visitors an opening.
Oh, it's a 5-second violation against Mark Bradkey.
Bowman pulling Canberra to within a sniff with just 40 seconds on the clock. An untimely foul, though, thwarting the Canberra charge, and they were punished from the line. A three-pointer on the buzzer, not quite enough for the Cannons. The Tigers sneaking home by a point.
Stay right there, more basketball coming up and motor racing too. The Super Tour are hoping for a welcome change of luck. And taking on the challenge, having a go on the golf course.
How much sport can you bear? Too much sport is barely enough when you're having a Bundy good time with the sports prize of the decade. Call now for your chance to score a trip to anywhere in the world to watch any Aussie become a national hero. That's right, any sport, any Aussie, anywhere, and you choose. Be there when your favourite Aussie wins his 4th World Championship or catch the prestigious USPGA. Imagine Augusta, Wimbledon, the Monaco Grand Prix. Any sport, any Aussie, anywhere. Plus, each night an instant Bundy pack worth over $1,000 will be won. Call now or grab a bottle of Bundy for another chance to win and be a part of Aussie's Going Off OS. Now that's what I call a Bundy good time with Sports Tonight.
And Thursday night's winner of the Bundy pack is Andrew Hughes of Balcatta in Western Australia. Chris Anstey is approaching his NBA debut and the raps on him are getting bigger and bigger. American Dream Team coach Don Nelson says Anstey can be a better player than the Chicago Bulls imported Aussie Luke Longley.
Since his first-round selection in the NBA draft, the expectations being placed on Magic centre Chris Anstey have grown higher and higher. Now favourably compared with Australia's most successful NBA player, Luke Longley.
I know Don Nelson's extraordinarily high on Anstey and feels he's a can't-miss prospect for the NBA. They feel he'd be better than Longley.
While Anstey's immediate future in the NBA is secure, other Aussies like second-round pick Paul Rogers from Adelaide will strive for contracts by impressing in the Summer League.
Played real well in the first game and I've been up and down the last 2 games. We've got in some foul trouble, but I'm pretty excited about how everything's going.
Rogers has already made a solid impression on LA Lakers coach Del Harris.
Paul has done a nice job for us. In today's game, he got into foul trouble early, and that hampered him. But he has a good feel for the game. He gets to the right place. He's been very well coached along the line here, and we have some real hopes for him.
After a dreadful start to the year, defending Super Touring champ Brad Jones' luck could be about to change. Audi's arch-rival BMW have been slugged with a 30-kilo weight penalty, leading into this weekend's 4th round of the championship at Sydney's Amaroo Park. And it's a track that suits the Audis right down to the ground.
The face says it all. Brad Jones determined to claw his way back into contention after falling 32 points behind BMW's championship leader, Jeff Brabham. And part of the process is showing no sympathy for BMW's new weight problem.
We got weight last year and we didn't think it was very fair, and this year they've got weight and we probably think it's very fair.
Although Brad Jones is focusing on grabbing some valuable championship points this weekend, on Tuesday he flies out for the biggest race of his career, the Spa 24-hour endurance race.
I'm pretty excited about it. It's very much a driver's circuit and I haven't been there before, so I'm looking forward to going over there and having a bit of a run around. I've got 2 other really good people in the car with me, and I think from what I understand the car's quite a chance for an outright win.
As for Team BMW, they feel they've been penalised for having a superior team, not a better car, and have no choice but to accept the ruling of running with an extra 30 kilos.
We just have to lump that and try and do the best we can. It's just, you know, it's a little bit different from other sports. If the same applied to Mick Doohan, you'd probably be towing a caravan around by now, so, you know.
Although it may not affect them as harshly as some predict. 1995 Super Touring champ Paul Morris was fastest in today's practice and is over a second under the existing lap record.
Everyone knows the goal for us at the end of the year is to win the championship, so whether we've got 30 kilos or not, it's not going to stop us working towards that.
And there's no doubt about where BMW stand in regards to Sunday's 2 races.
I think the Audi's in the box seat, but we're not going to just lie down and let them walk all over us.
Tomorrow, Australia's best amateur golfers get a chance to have their time in the limelight in the Master of the Amateurs. For one player, it's an extra special challenge, but there's no risk. All 75 competitors will be trying to play their best golf to get that coveted green jacket.
They've come from all over Australia and even overseas for this unique golf tournament that gets underway at Royal Pines tomorrow. The sponsors lineup would make a professional golf tournament proud. It's been a lot of hard work for Peter Mann and his team.
It's been a dream for about 3 years. We've been working on the last 2 years.
To enter, you need a handicap of 12 or better, and there are plenty of rewards up for grabs in the special competitions and draws, from King Cobra golf clubs and accessories to exquisite Krosno glassware.
But this is the ultimate accolade. Just like the pros at Augusta, the winner of this tournament gets a green jacket, and he'll be known as the Master of the Amateurs.
Which is why the best of the best are playing. Ian Cook comes from Adelaide with a handicap of 2, but he scoffs at the favouritism tag.
I don't think there's any favourites up here in this tournament. I mean, this course is pretty tough, and at the moment with the wind up, I think it's anybody's chance, so I wouldn't be a favourite, no.
And believe it or not, this fellow could be wearing the green jacket Sunday night. He's one of the major sponsors who plays off 11. And as you've probably noticed, that's not his only handicap.
It can't help you, of course, having one leg, but one of the major things in golf is balance. And just for day-to-day living, I need balance. And so it comes naturally.
Also in with a chance, Brian Collis, the winner of our Sports Tonight competition. He arrived in style today to be presented with his new King Cobra golf clubs.
Absolutely beautiful.
And after trying them out, he reckons he's found golfing heaven.
It's up here in Queensland.
Stick around with us. Up next, we're off to the track as we preview all tomorrow's big races right around Australia.